guys, I'm Jen. Welcome to my channel. This video is about karma, and you know, it was a really challenging for me to understand what that looks like. While I do believe there are things outside of us that are happening, I also understand that we are completely in charge of our actions, and it was comforting at one point to think that my actions, if I just keep doing this, I'm gonna get something back. If I do good deeds, I get something back. That's not how I have experienced karma. And I know a lot of people talk about chosen ones and being protected. I don't know, I can't really speak on that. I can say, like, I feel safe in my environment compared to maybe larger cities because of all the crime and stuff that happens there. I don't know, but I also think that part of my decision-making skills and my discernment has allowed me to also stay away from certain characters and things like that, away from the drama, away from, haters and things like that, that pretend to be lovers. Like, learning who is for you and who is not has been a big plus for me, because I feel like in the past I was giving to all the wrong people, which was keeping me stuck as well. And a lot of belief systems I have been through. So religion I've been through, and spirituality I've been through, and now, even the idea of like karma, and like even knowing like something about God being out there, whether that's what he's called or not, whether it's a he or she, there's something out there bigger than us. And I mean, just looking at the world, there's got to be something bigger than us. This is crazy how did we get here, right? Like, how do you make a car? How do you, like, it's so crazy how you pull elements from the earth and put like a car together, or like a TV, like, to me, that's got to be something outside of ourselves, I think. I don't know. But the idea is, some of the things I struggled with was like, in spirituality, they talk about, and in religion, they talk about, be a good person, be like God, be like Jesus, in his, element or whatever. But, and so like, if you behave like this, you will be blessed. And I think it's interesting to look at like what blessed means. What is that encounter? And same with spirituality. Like, there's a lot of talk about manifestation and abundance, and it's like, what does that mean exactly? Because I know I've experienced my abundance period, and I feel like I'm still in it, to be honest. I think abundance is where you give, and I don't know that you're necessarily receiving, but you're receiving in it's a different format, right? It's outside of yourself, I think. This is where I've had to ask and receive help from things that are outside of me, and knowing that fully, like, the intention of mine is to give back later in life, right? And the thing is too, I do feel like I've already given a lot in my life to people that didn't deserve it, so I don't know if that really counts towards your karma, because what I have not received is justice to those situations in the way that most people would expect it. I've had to take those really painful lessons and process them, and process the pain so that I could extract the lesson out of them, so I don't have to keep recycling that pattern of behavior, right? Or that pattern of belief system, which then turns into behavior. Because when you keep doing something, when you keep forgiving somebody who's abusive, and you just keep getting treated badly, that's going to affect your emotions, your mind, and your physical body, to the point where now you can no longer work like you could, or stay focused like you need to, or feel joy like you deserve to. And so a lot of these things haven't been like, I do see videos, and I've never seen it. I have not seen the karma affect the people who have hurt me personally. I see videos where, like, some angry Karen, sorry if you're a Karen, some angry hater who is miserable will, like, inflict something on somebody and get angry, and their outbursts, and they're videoed, and now everyone sees their behavior in true colors. And then they get, like, maybe they get hate mail, or, this is like someone who yells. There's a video I've seen where a man is like yelling at someone, and he's looking back, yelling at them, and then he walks right into like a phone pole or something, and like, that's instant karma. But the thing is, a lot of the people that are haters don't take those situations as lessons to be blessings. They don't learn from that. They blame it on other people. That man walking into that post is going to blame the person that he was talking to, even though he was yelling at them. So he's not necessarily going to see that as like, oh, maybe I shouldn't yell at people. you know, maybe next time he just won't walk away, but he'll still yell at people. So there's the justice that I have received is not anything that I did not create through my own means, by being able to reflect on my bad behavior and say, okay, like, I ignored red flags. I stayed in environments longer than I should have. I cared way too much when I shouldn't have cared at all, in the way that, you know, it's just not that deep. This isn't like a, you know, that wasn't a long-term situation, and that wasn't, you know, meant for me. For, you know, it's like learning how to grieve has helped me to deal with the loss, if that makes sense, and understand, you know what, that's not really a loss. You weren't meant to be there. You're meant to be there to cover this period of time for you. You weren't meant to stay there. You're meant to understand who you really are and see your true value, and understand the people around you who you thought had value but were really showing up empty-handed, looking to take from you. And so that's the justice I have had. I've not had anything where it's like a windfall of blessings that didn't come from outside of me, myself, and I, and the work that I've done. I haven't received that, so I can't speak on that sort of like situation, really. I don't think so, because anytime I've received something, in for something, it's because I took a hit somewhere. And it's like when I had a car accident, I got $9,000 back, but I had so much taken because the advisor I went to, who is supposed to be like the special chiropractor, was overcharging, and he was a basic chiropractor, and he had moved from the States, which should have been a red flag. And yeah, he felt really schmoozy, but he was charming with the schmoozy. So I just kind of like, you know what, I needed kindness at that time, but I was also very vulnerable. And this man takes advantage of people who have been in car accidents. And while he was helpful in some sort of way to get me that $9,000, which was helpful, he took a lot in return, because he was overcharging and charging the insurance company for my care. And then, you know, he also was helping by putting me in connection with a lawyer that he uses, and then also referred me to a counselor, and they're all in cahoots. All of them were in cahoots, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's somehow, you know, in cahoots with the insurance company in some way. And so, like, you think someone's helping you, and so, while, like I said, I did get chiropractor care, I did get to talk to a therapist. Was that parts of that helpful? Yeah. But at what expense? Like, I had to give way too much. There's not a honest intention with those people. And so a lot of people, it's interesting, a lot of people will point fingers to like the government and, you know, those strung out celebrities, or, you know, whatever you want to point to, like being greedy, like these billionaires, which they are. But you don't understand that there's so many people on our own levels, on our own sort of like in a, like, to proximity to us, that are equally just as down and dirty and disgusting. Like, you really, and so I think part of those people do show up too in the Christian communities. I'm not saying all Christians are like this, but I do think there are some Christians who use that Christian cape to mask themselves as a person better than they actually are. And the same goes for the spiritual community. And so there's a lot of people who will have phrases that are just be positive, or just let the universe take care of it. And while to me, I have been taken care of up to this point, but I've also had to move like myself. I've also had to, like, it's not like I'm just sitting here picking my nose. Like, I mean, I do pick my nose. Yes, I do. But it's not like I'm just sitting on the couch, not thinking about how to, like, what should I be doing? How should I be? Like, I'm always, even when I'm sitting, I'm still thinking. Even when I'm doing stuff, I'm still doing stuff. I'm not like just sitting there, just hands up, like, life sucks, I guess, you know, I'll just leave it up to God. I'm just going to leave it up to the universe. No, I'm constantly strategizing, and like, would this work? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, it's a constant process. And I think that's why I needed to also take care of the cards and get them out, because what they do is they have those positive messages, but they also have some unrealistic advice and foreshadowing. And while it sounds wonderful, it's just not how I've experienced it. Like, while some of these positive messages just keep going, that's important. Rest, that's important. And so there are times when I couldn't get back up because I didn't have enough rest, and things happened to fall together for me. But it wasn't without enduring more abuse within those social service environments, right? So I'm not just sitting here like, I don't want to deal with this and I don't want to deal with that. Like, I've had to advocate for myself to get support where everyone else is entitled to it as well, which is unfair. So that's unjust, right? And so, but with that, I also got the information where it's not just predators that you see that are damaging. It's not just these narcissists that you can tell when someone really wants the limelight because they can't allow anyone else to have it. It's not just these people who want to help but then also want to take in exchange without going into the fine print. It's things that I had to learn within myself where I don't still ask enough questions. I still enter into contracts without knowing the full details and thinking that just because a person is friendly and offering help makes them that person, right? You got to look at what are they getting out of this and what are you getting from this. And that's where I've learned in my last video, if you want to watch that, like caring less. And it doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I've showed up in environments previously where I was like, I was all in it. I saw it as a different workplace. And so I'm like, you know what? This is a different workplace. Let's start from scratch. Let's give everything we got because this is a different work building. But the thing is, I had to recognize these buildings all have a similarity to them where they're focused on the bottom line and not necessarily like the care of their employees. And while they will offer, benefits and they'll offer some things to entice people to stay there to create like a long-term connection and, consistency and, that's what success requires. You can't be having people in and out the door all the time. I still have to understand well, it's not up to here yet. This isn't how I would treat myself. And if I had a company, I don't think I would run that way either. And so understanding there's still so much room for growth in these environments. And so it's not somewhere I want to, camp out and sign out and be like, settle. I'm not going to settle here. I'm not going to settle my tent here. I'm not going to like post my flag and be like, this is it. This is a workplace. I'm going to work until I retire. It's understanding that this is not this is maybe better, but it's not the best. And also understanding like, it may not be the best. And it's something for now to get me to where I need to go. And when I started understanding that, I stopped expecting so much, not just from people, but from places and from environments and from workplaces. And it got me more understanding of where it motivated me. That's the blessing. It's motivating me. There is probably not going to be a workplace. Like that's why I want to work from home, because I like my home. I like looking at windows. I like seeing nature. I want a sunroom off the back of my head so I can work from that room, so I can always be in nature, because I can't always be in nature. There are jobs that require you. I was a letter carrier, and I don't want to always be in nature. I want to see nature. I want to feel like I'm outdoors, because I don't want to be in the rain. I like to hear the rain. I like to, a little bit of rain is okay, but I don't want to be in a downpour when I have to get shit done, right? I mean, so there's some things I've had to like moderate and make sense of. And the thing is, some people watching this might be like, duh, what did you expect? Like, this is the way the world is. And I think, unfortunately, the world has gotten so far gone where I think it's getting greedier with that sort of like, well, at least we do this. But like, I do see these workplaces are removing more and more benefits because they see other people doing it and it's working for other places. And some of these businesses are small businesses, so they're like, well, we can only offer this much. But I don't know that that's true. And so I have to recognize, it is what it is. It's not what it's not. And I think that's part of growing up and maturing and understanding, like, I do have to get a 9 to 5, but I have to also not be able to, I have to be able to recognize it for what it is, but I also have to recognize how I'm going to show up going in there, and that I'm going to do it differently than I did before. And like I said, recognizing what are not my responsibilities, they're not my jobs. I can't be an advocate. I'm not in a position to advocate for other people at this point. That's not something. So if they're asking somebody to do an unsafe job and they want to do it, I can't. A lot of workplaces want us to be like, well, we're all responsible for safety. Well, when I spoke up, that did not happen. And I was not taken kindly. I was targeted. So those are things I'm just not able to do at this time because I'm not financially secure. And so it's like, that idea would be lovely. It would be lovely to be able to like be that full version of myself and advocate. So I'm just going to have to take that advocation and bring it to my channel and help others, build their strength and help them grow to be a stronger version of themselves. And I think that's kind of what I'm moving towards, is like, that's where my outlet's going to be. And I think it's also going to help me, really motivate me to be more consistent, so that I can develop more of a financial basis from this channel, so that I can also move to doing other things that I love. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But karma, I haven't seen karma yet. And I also want to understand, I don't look for it, because you know what? I believe they're in divine timing. I do believe that, and I think some things have to cook in order for some people to really feel. It's kind of like, that parent that thinks that they can just treat their kids like shit, and that eventually, like with just more time, that kid will come back around and help take care of that elderly parent, and just realizing when they get to that point of being elderly and needing the care, that child is not going to show up anymore. And I think maybe they thought, that breadcrumbing, that ignoring, like just being respectful and considerate of that connection, and just respecting their boundaries. Maybe they thought like, they'll come around. And when they realize like no one's coming around, I think that's where some of those people get that karma. And so they will still be offloading on strangers. And there's still going to be people that listen to their sob stories and be like, oh, poor you. But those people, I don't think those people are going to take care of those people like they think they are. I think they're more interested in, remember, like attracts like. Drama is going to attract drama. And I do think that those people that are going to those other people that listen to them, I think they also take that information and realize exactly who they are and who they aren't in a different format. And so I don't wait around. I don't wait around for karma. I found that to be a waste of my time. And so I had to work through my resentment. So I'll do a video about that after this. But yeah, I just, the karma I haven't seen. I wasn't seeing it. And the thing is too, you got to expect, like, I'm not around these people anymore. So I don't go on their social medias. I have no interest, because I remember when I was dealing with an ex, when I would check on his social media, it was fake. It was fake. I remember, like, so it's been a long time since I've done that, because honestly, when I used to do it, what I was seeing was just like a fake facade from these people. And if there's any truth to it, it was just them doing the same thing that they do, like going out, partying, drinking, dating lots of women, having sex with lots of women, whatever. Like, I know what that feels like. I know how they treated me. That's how they're going to treat other women. And it just didn't matter anymore. It just it felt like that person's never going to change. So like going back and looking on them to expect change is ridiculous. And so that didn't seem like a reason to check on their karma, because I just thought they're just going to get what they're getting. And it's been recently where I really got to see who I really am and what I do provide in my connections. And I just realized, like, that's why they keep coming back too, is like, I am very loving and nurturing and kind and compassionate. And when I have the people that I love, I really love hard on them. I mean, I have to watch my micromanaging for my kids, but like when shit goes down, I am the one to go to comfort you and to nurture you. And because I've been learning how to do that for myself, I'm getting really good at it, like understanding what helps in recovering from abuse, and not just like the comforting, like binge eating ice cream. Like we're far past that. And so being able to start, when I've been doing that for myself, and doing it for my kids and stuff like that, and for my community, and that I really am looking back and realizing there's not a lot of people that I've met that are like me, in full version of like me. And people may say that sounds ignorant or arrogant or whatever. I don't really give a shit. I know the work that I've done. I know the effort that I put into my connections to make sure that they're happy and focused, and that we're, both parties are winning. And while I am not perfect and I'm still working on some of those things, there is definitely, you can feel, it's like customer service. You can tell when a business wants your business. You can tell they're gonna make the effort. If they messed up, they're gonna find a way to keep you as a customer. And now they don't always revise what made you want to leave. They're gonna try to keep you. And so for me, it's like I'm really working better at being better. And so I have results, and so my kids are going to have results. And so like where I failed as a parent, And, you know, maybe they haven't come to recognize exactly how damaging my actions were for their lifestyle yet. I'm definitely doing the work so that when the time comes, I'm going to have those answers to help them when they want them, so that it's not going to be such a painful path like I had to do. And so, like, by, you know, making those changes, I'm changing my family's karma. I'm changing my kids' karma. I'm telling them things. I'm having conversations with them that my parents didn't have with me. I'm being uncomfortable. I'm pushing myself. You know, in times where I might have avoided having that conversation because I didn't want to feel like a burden, where my parents avoided having that conversation because they were uncomfortable. It's different. We're different, and so I'm doing different. But I also had to recognize where my karma was partly where I was showing up similarly but different to someone who is very narcissistic. So like, so where I was overly emotional in certain situations because of all the abuse I was tolerating and enduring because of the lack of information I had. I thought I had to do it this way and this is the only way to do it, and I was getting horrible results. You know, I had, so my kids would have had that emotional unhingedness. I was a ticking time bomb. So they had to experience that from a different intention, but still damaging. And so I had to learn, if I wanted to do different for me and my kids and to get different karma, then I had to show up differently than my parents. And I realized I was still showing up like them, but for different reasons. And so it's still damaging. You know, if I can't manage my emotions for my kids, then they can't feel safe to come to me. If I can't get myself into a higher leadership position in life in general, then like they need to see, well, why would I take that advice if it didn't work for you? So like I need to show them results in the action to say, oh, oh, you did this. I want to do that too. Okay, well, this is how I did it. I didn't have that as a parent. My parents have stayed the same since the day they had their trauma, and they have chosen not to do different. So it doesn't give me somebody to go to as a parent, as a, you know, someone who I can talk to and can counsel me. It's been the other way around, where I've had to do all this work. I've had to find the answers, not just for me because I wasn't provided them from them ever, even after I was out of the house and they had time, but because I now have children that I want to be that parent for, to do different. And so that's where the karma comes in for me. That's where the importance comes, realizing that some of these spiritual belief systems can keep you more delusional and comfortable instead of in the painful reality of what your actions are actually creating, and while your inaction could be creating. And while I do believe rest is important and pausing is super important, you also have to be able to take action to find out what that looks like and to find out what is helpful and what is not helpful. Okay, so like that's where it's the action, you know. And I find a lot of fillers that are in the spiritual community and in life, in society, but also in religion. A lot of those are not just fear based, but like delusion based, where they're so high up in the clouds you can't ground them down low into your current reality to actually make it make sense. And so I had to test out a lot of different belief systems, and I'll do a video about that too. I need a notepad to write down all the videos I need to make, or rewatch my video, to find like what was working and what was not. You know, there's sometimes like maybe I was so high in delusion that you know, bringing me down low so hard and fast, maybe that didn't work. I don't know. I can just talk about the path that I picked and how I went along it. I'll do a video about that as well, and what worked and what didn't work. And some of those videos are going to take some time, so I don't know if I have to do like you know, TikTok, you know, story times, if that's helpful. So let me know if you prefer like a story time sort of TikTok inspired, where I just talk on certain events and stop. I might do it. I think I'm going to do it that way. I think I'm going to do that. And so yeah, so the karma, I have not received any sort of like, you know, I still have a neighbor that refuses to take care of their side lawn, and I'm 75% guaranteed it's there. I just don't have like the property lines, you know, by an individual who does that, whoever that is. I just don't have like an official report, but like you can look down the line and you can see, especially where they decided to put their fence, it can't be too far off from where they're at, so they wouldn't have put their fence too close if they thought that was the property line, right? So you just gotta put some common sense together, and they don't want to put it together. And it'd be another thing, like we both don't know where that property line is, right? But they have made no effort. Like I could understand if like every other time we cut that line, right? Because they were like, you know, but it's 70% theirs. It's their growth coming from their grass. Their weeds are growing over now across that line. Why would I weed whack that? That's not my job, you know? And so it's just stuff like that where it's like, it's common sense. Some people are just never going to have common sense. And the thing is, there's not going to be any sort of like karma that says, well, because they're leaving their work for you to do, like what is that going to do for me? How am I going to like recover that unless I have to now take them to court, you know, make forms, fill them out, you know, I'm going to focus on other things right now. If I have to cut it, I'll cut it. But that's what I mean. They just need me to pick up their pieces. Can you imagine being that kind of ripe old adult that requires somebody to do such a small gesture for them? Like, I can't imagine how they get by in life. And when more challenging things come up, that's going to be a challenge for them. That they are their own karma. You know, they're only going to be able to get so far with what, because why? Because I could only get so far with the ideologies or the ideas and the belief systems that I had, right? And so, will they keep doing the same thing over, receiving the same thing? Probably. I don't know. And that's a benefit. Like, I have a lot of experience in growing, like plants, vegetables, people, me, myself, you know, kids, to the point where just because I haven't had the financial success doesn't mean I haven't had growth. You know, and that's something I've had to, that's the karma, that's the bonus, that's the benefit. And some people really need like money to really understand that. But the thing is like sometimes people will do the wrong things to get to that equation too quickly, where they've actually settled, and where just because they're getting the money, it doesn't mean they've got the fulfillment and the contentness and the peaceful lifestyle. And so, yeah, I've just had to keep going and keep growing because I haven't wanted to settle for things that I know that are false. And so that's where the karma comes in, and that's where I've had to learn how to see it and recognize it instead of look for it in a way of like large amounts of money or even getting paid my worth. Like, I'm still not, you know, in environments where I'm getting my worth, but I can still find other avenues and work towards other things and be happy in my lifestyle and say it's not that deep. You know, it's people can see driving by their whole lawn, they haven't done anything with it, like it's just grown in, which is, there's two people there for whatever reason that's happening. I normally wouldn't care, except they're now infringing across my property. I've been in stages of growth where I couldn't manage my yard, you know, perfectly, kind of thing. So I'm not expecting perfection. I know that through my levels of growth, whenever I notice, like, even my dogs were in my yard, but barking at dogs outside of my yard, that bothered me. I'm like, that, we can't have that. I gotta fix that. You know, I gotta work on that. And even if I can't fix it quickly, I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to find ways to stimulate my dogs, to train my dogs. And now it means now I'm moving forward on, like, I want to take each dog out on their own, because I'm still seeing dogs that are really threatening out there, that even if they're on leash, there's dogs that people are walking that they don't have control over. So it doesn't make me feel safe to walk two dogs at one time, because if something, it's just a matter of when, not if. And so I want to be able to pick up my little dog and shield my body from any potential harm, instead of trying to have two dogs on the end of these leashes going nuts. They attack each other in the chaos, and it's just, so I'm learning how to do better because of other people's mistakes. And then it also helps me develop myself, and then become more consistent, more disciplined. It helps me achieve my goals, because now when I take out each dog, I know that what I'm going to get from that is like that one-on-one attention that I needed as a child. So I'm kind of parenting my dogs like I needed as a child, and giving that one-on-one attention. And I do that with my kids as well. I've learned like more one-on-one. Sometimes we get a lot more closeness, and we have more, you know, intentional conversations that benefit like them at the time of being all three of us. We have good times when there's all three of us too. So it's not like it's, you know, we get together as a group and we get along too. So I think it's important to have both. And so I'm now being forced, kind of like, not forced, but realizing the importance of like, you know what, let's do some one-on-one training. I think that's going to help their training. It's going to make me feel safer, and it's going to make me want to walk them more because I'm not feeling so threatened. And it's also recognizing where I've been targeted as a single parent in the past from a lot of people around me, because when you're one person taking care of two kids, you're overwhelmed, you're overworked, and you're overtired. And I realized a lot of people thought that they could treat me badly because of that, and because my finances is just one person paying for two kids when it should have been two people, plus some help from family, with Sunday meals or whatever, or just even taking the kids on a vacation to help spend time, but also help like with that burden of cost, because the world is in the way that we cannot control at this time, because we can't get our shit together collectively. I can't control that, so I just got to make things better as I can. And so I've taken that and applied it to my own world. And that's how I make my karma better. That's because I'm making my life better. I'm taking action. And these dogs can be crazy. They can be triggered. They can be spiraling. But I've had to learn how to help teach them. Like, one of the things I was doing was getting them, instead of just like they would just be reactive and barking. So I've had to take them and give them a pause while I'm walking. And I did it at the window first, but then we did it on the street when they were more comfortable. And I got them to, they understood the term watch. Just watch. It's a dog, it's a cat, and it sounds silly when you do it, but it's given them the time and space to uh, be curious and look into, the cats, the dogs. Like, my one dog, Tucker, loves watching kids on scooters. He is so interested, something about them. Like, he will watch. I remember when I walk him, he'll see one coming down the road, and he'll watch until he can no longer see that scooter. Like, he will be focused until he can no longer see it. It's really cool. It's cute to. I don't think he's like tracking the kid like a prey, but he's just so like, what is that? I'm so intrigued, and like, I do want to get him like riding on a bike with him to get out some of that energy, because the allowing them to sniff and observe their environment, that is a healthy, and that they need that slow pause to see what's going on and sniff on what's going on. But I think they also they need treats, games, stimulation, bone chewing, but they also need like playful joy, but also like that exercise too, to get that extra energy out. And I am not running yet to the point where I can give that to him. So I think if I could get my bike fixed, I could potentially, hopefully, do that, at a time where he'll feel safe too. So these are just things I keep improving. When somebody does something to me, I just switch lanes. I'm not in their lane, but I can go around their mess and learn from it and be like, okay, well, that's how people behave. That's really shitty. That's what they look like. That's how they show up. Okay, well, moving forward, how do I revise, people and the people that are either messy, toxic, unsafe, just not, I'm looking for people who are on my level in the way that I am ambitious. I am driven. And just because I've spent a lot of downtime resting and recovering, does not mean I've been any less ambitious or driven or working, because what people don't understand is like, it takes work to take yourself out of the working world and decide to rest and recover from the toxic cycle that you're in. That is one of the challenging times I've had, is to really hold my line and know, like, am I rested? Have I done enough, resting? And not only like, now that I'm, I've been working in the yard, I've been building momentum, getting my physical action in. It's shown me where my lack of nutritional, like, sort of habits are. So like I said, I need to add more apple cider vinegar before meals. I have to. This is not a gray zone. I have to do that if I want to digest my food, to get the nutrients out of my food, to get the energy to work a full-time job and come home and have time for my dogs, for my other, side hobbies, my channel. Like, I have to no longer, like, it's not like these are an option anymore. I have to choose them. And that's what self-love is saying I have to choose these things in order to become successful and create the life that I love. And so, like, this is taking way longer than I thought. And that's where people will think, well, I just have to change, I just have to break up with my toxic ex and now I'll get the Prince Charming partner. No, it's not. What you're going to get is you're going to get the covert narcissist. What you're going to get is the emotionally manipulative, friendly face backstabber who gaslights you into telling you that they're doing more work than they are. What you're going to get is that person that plays shy but is really like a volcano in private. So, like, some people think they just have to do these small things, and I think sometimes they stay in it because they give up too easily and they just feel like I can't do this. But it's like, you're not meant to rest and recover with a predator. How do you think you're going to rest and recover with a predator in the building? That'd be like, you know, like a little chick cuddling up to a tiger. That, I don't know if tigers eat chicks, but you get what I'm saying. Something that has teeth, that putting it against something that doesn't, you know. And so I'll have to do a video about that too. I'll have to rewatch this video and make notes on my own video about what I'm needing to do. What I'm going to do next time is, I had a clipboard and I lost it. Even though I've cleaned my house, I lost it. So I'm going to have to find that clipboard and keep it close to me for every time I make a video here. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to stop there. Be sure to like and subscribe. There are ways I could definitely benefit from any sort of financial assistance right now if you're comfortable and capable. If not, a like and subscribe, or a like, subscribe. Subscribe is really helpful because then I can start being paid for the videos. That would really, I mean, if you're looking to subscribe, liking a video is helpful because it gets it out to other people who might be interested. All those things are, you know, you can do so many things to help support me without, you know, without putting a penny down. So definitely, I would love those. Comment and let me connect with you that are out there. That I'd love to hear if this is helping, what you've experienced. If you have tips that you have found helpful, put those in there as well. And I'll see you in the next one. So thank you to those that have supported me up to this point. Thank you for all of my subscribers that are here. I appreciate that. For you that are respectful in your comments, I love that too. And yeah, just thank you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And take care.